Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in to another video. Today we're talking about $20 silver soon. I really want to bring silver in the spotlight because gold has been getting most of the attention in the media recently because of its $1,500 outbreak. But today I want to focus on the underdog, gold's little brother, which is silver. Before we start, make sure to smash that like button as always. Subscribe if you are new. I post daily videos, so if you love precious metals, stay tuned on this channel because I definitely cover all of it. So anyways, why is silver going to be $20 soon? Well, this is more of a rhetorical question. I'm asking you guys. This will be a poll video, so you can, in the top right corner, you can click and, submit if you think silver is or is not going to be $20, within the next couple months. And I'm curious on why you think this. It's also very important to tell me why you're voting on, whatever answer you choose, because it brings some backstory, some context to it. I'm going to share a little bit of my perspective on it. So recently, gold has broke past this $1,500 mark. It was holding a $1,400 resistance for a very long time, and I kept talking about, once it broke past that $1,400, there is a bright future for gold. But also obviously, if gold's going to break out and if precious metals are in the spotlight, gold being the one that kind of drives people in, they also follow suit to find and start hearing about silver as well. And silver usually does follow gold's path, not always immediately, but surely over time it does. And that's what we're seeing with silver breaking over $17, which is really good news for the precious metals community. I've been mentioning this a lot in my videos recently that, it is the perfect storm right now for gold, with the Fed, rate cuts, with, all of the stuff with the stock markets going on. People are a little panicky and a little uncertain in the economy, and this is a perfect storm for precious metals because this drives people to want to, invest or transfer their wealth into something that holds more security and more value over time. I've always talked about how silver is the perfect solution, a perfect alternative for fiat currency if you are worried about hyperinflation or worried about, the economy or even just our financial system we're in, because we are in a very uncertain economic time. They might put on that front, put on that mask like everything's okay and the dollar's, pretty strong, but behind the scenes it's extremely chaotic, and there's very few signs showing that it's ever going to get any better anytime soon. There definitely needs to be something else in place, but until there is something else in place, we're going to have to take control on our own terms and with our own will, and that is definitely with precious metals. Now, obviously, diversification is key. Diversifying maybe into some stocks or even some silver ETFs. I just made a video the other day talking about why I personally don't invest in ETFs, but if there's money to be made there and if it's something that you're interested in, then go for it. But everyone definitely has their own individual strategy and what works for them. For me right now, I'm sticking to strictly precious metals. Right now, I'm not buying gold because gold is, higher, so I would be paying a higher price, definitely paying a premium if I was going to buy gold. So right now I'm still focusing on silver, but silver is rising as well. So I want to be careful not overpaying, because there usually is going to be a correction pretty soon where silver is going to dip back down as people sell off and claim some of their profits from people that were buying around the $15 range, making $2, $3 profit on each ounce of silver they have, which is good. And a lot of times you don't want to immediately sell right away. Maybe you want to sell limited over the next couple weeks or next couple months, just to kind of keep a pulse on the market, because if it keeps going higher, then you could have sold more ounces for a lot more and got more profits. But you don't want to always make impulse decisions, and I definitely recommend being patient in this time, because who knows where it can go. We have the 2020 presidential election coming up next year, which is going to be something that's highly going to influence silver's price and gold's price. Anytime something in the economy is happening where it causes a lot of just stirring up and uproar and political views and all that, it definitely scares people a little bit, and people always tend to head towards precious metals for their safe haven, and that's not a bad idea at all. Us silver stackers and gold stackers, we have this perspective, we have this viewpoint all the time, but other people, it takes something that causes something in them, or some uncertainty in them to start investing. But whatever drives people into the market of gold and silver, then so be it. That's the better. So right now, a lot of people are talking about gold right now. Gold's making all the headlines. Silver isn't really following many headlines, maybe because, a $17 price isn't that, it doesn't have the same bang or the same, the same grab as saying gold is $1,500. It's a higher number. Gold is always the royal metal. People tend to like gold more, especially people that don't understand precious metals or that are coming or looking from the sidelines on the benches. That's something that's going to grab their attention more. And if that works to drive them in the market of precious metals, then that's good then. But media attention does play a huge role, especially when they give negative spotlights or negative connotations about the precious metals. A lot of times they tend to talk about silver or gold when it's in a bear market or when, something bad is happening, when the market's been manipulated, JP Morgan stuff, Merrill Lynch, stuff like that. But when stuff is going good, they tend to not talk about it as much. And I guess maybe because gold and silver are more of the rebel type of investment, the rebel asset, because you're kind of going against the dollar and what the dollar stands for, because precious metals are real money. When you have your silver and gold, the physical form of it, the physical bullion, that's real money. Fiat currency is deflating. It's not backed by anything with real value. So you're basically putting your wealth into the hands of the power behind it, which is the government, which is obviously not doing a very good job when we're $23 trillion in debt with the financial system that's based off of nothing with real value, and hyperinflation is destroying the economy. So obviously precious metals would be a safe haven for a lot of people, but people don't want to admit that, and they don't want to acknowledge that, because if they do, then they have to acknowledge that there's something really bad going on. And a lot of people want to live in la la land and don't want to admit to that stuff. They want to trust the government, they want to trust the banks, but the reality is the later you figure this out, or the later you finally admit that there is something going on, that we really are in a bad state, then the worse off you're going to be. If you can start preparing right now, then you're much safer in the future. And that's the whole point of, stacking precious metals. It's financial freedom and security in our future. We're preparing ourselves for any situation possible, and that's why we have our wealth in this real money. I've made videos, in the past couple of weeks talking about how silver has been, even longer than gold, silver's been used as money for 6,000 years. In biblical times, they used silver as real money. It's the only currency that's been deemed a measured trade or measured, bartering sense of money since the beginning of man, longer than gold has. Back in the Egyptian days, the Egyptians saw silver and gold as the same price because silver had magical powers, how it reflected or reacted with chemicals and certain elements, and they saw it as magic. It can purify water. If you put it, a piece of silver in drinking water, it can cure sickness. It can do all this stuff. It's the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity, and no other metal performs the way that silver does. It's actually incredible how many uses silver has in the everyday world, but I just don't think people realize this or understand this, and if they did, I think more people would be falling into the arms of precious metals without having to have a natural disaster or a tragic event being the main factor that drives them into it. That's why I love making these videos. That's why I love educating people on the subject of precious metals, because the more aware they are, the more in tune they are, the better they are going to be in the future. Even if I just plant that seed right now, maybe even if they don't invest right now, at least they understand and know what the value of silver is compared to the dollar. And that's another point I want to make is, when you're looking at a dollar, or let's say a $20 bill compared to an ounce of silver, because this video is talking about $20 silver, that's still extremely undervalued for silver. If you hold a $20 bill in your left hand and hold a 1 ounce silver coin in your right hand, you can easily and immediately tell which one is more valuable. But even in today's standards, we try to pin, or we try to stereotype money to, or let's say peg money to something, to an asset, as that's value. But if you really think about it, silver is much more valuable than $20. There is no real price you can put on silver, because silver is the real money. Money is not the real money. That's just the gauge or the promissory note that's saying how much something is worth from a federal or from a government standpoint, from a market standpoint. But there really is many more factors that go into it, especially with the physical metal, because you have to actually dig it out the ground. It's not like stocks, or it's not like, cryptocurrency. It's a physical asset that's used in technology, in the industrial world, in the medical world. There's colloidal silver. There's silver nanoparticles. It's used for silver. It's used for space equipment, dental alloys, laptops, cell phones. A lot of it isn't being scrapped out of this stuff, so it's lost, never to be recovered. And it's really something that I don't think enough people understand and realize. So $20 silver is definitely possible. Remember, silver was $50 in 2011, which is not very long ago, and that's definitely something that's not out of the ballpark. Not trying to say silver is going to hit $50 tomorrow, but in the next 5-10 years, it's definitely a possibility, and don't be surprised if it does. It's obviously some things are going to have to fall in place for silver for this to happen, especially since fiat currency is depleting and the way our financial system is going. The dollar is weakening, so $50 as a price point for a spot price for an ounce of silver might be harder to reach because the dollar is weakening, not because silver's value is weakening, but it's the fiat currency, which is the issue. But anyways, I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about this. I'm curious if you guys think silver is going to reach $20 in the next couple months or so, and if not, let me know. Thanks for tuning in. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe if you already haven't. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.